Hi friends, today we are talking about episode 2 of season 1 of Love on the Spectrum US, so please stick around. Hi friends, my name is Claire and this is my channel, Woodshed Theory. Here, I make content about what it is like to live as an adult on the autism spectrum and whatever else feels good to me, so if that sounds good to you, or if you're feeling particularly gracious today, and I hope that you are, please go ahead and click the subscribe button, ring the bell. I almost forgot to mention that I put out videos 3 times a week. Click the like, click the like. It really helps me when you interact with my videos, so thank you. So welcome back to all my newcomers, glad to have you. Today we are going over season 1, episode 2 of Love on the Spectrum US, and just come off of a great experience with the first episode. So far so good as far as representation, how they are showing autistic people, how the autistic people are being portrayed, how they're being treated, the kind of advice that they're getting. So I am pleased so far with the show as far as the United States version. So what about episode 2? Because it left us on kind of a big cliffhanger. So I'm gonna start with where we left off, and that is with Danny, who was on her date with Solomon, and she had just told him that she was in love with him and that he was so hot, and he stepped away to take a break, and she thought that maybe she scared him off and came on too strong. Well, yeah, she did come on a little bit strong. No judgment. It happened. But I was just worried maybe he wasn't gonna come back after that. So when we get back into the episode, Solomon does come back and just explains to Danny that he was a bit overwhelmed and he was, super into the date as well. He then offers to read her a poem to show her his passion for writing, and the poem is beautiful. It describes, just a beautiful soul and a beautiful woman. And at this point, I thought that maybe we'd have to pick up Danny from the floor because she's just blown away by Solomon. She gets bashful, he gets bashful, they are so sweet. She just feels like she has found her soulmate. They hold hands, they kiss, they start kissing. It's a good date. She's telling him, my heart is telling me we're soulmates. She's love at first sight on a blind date. So how do I feel about how this date went? I am speaking from experience when I say I have been I've had this experience before where I've been on a date and I was like smitten from the first moment, kissing on the first date. This is it for me. And in the end, things obviously, didn't work out. So in some ways I was a little bit concerned for them. Everyone is different, but I also know that as an autistic person, I can really take the information that I have and say, okay, here we go, and fall in deep without really knowing a person, right? Like, how do they like to spend their mornings? And, what are their views on ... Like, taking a jump, taking a leap super quickly. So I was concerned for her in that aspect, but they both ended the date feeling super good about it. They were both really happy, and I was happy for them. The next time that we see Danny, we don't see her much in this episode, but the next time we do see her, she is on her way to her next date with Solomon. We don't get to see that date yet in episode 2, but she's talking to her mother and she's saying that, maybe she made a mistake and that she really needs to step back and control herself, maybe not do any kissing on this date. She does use the word mistake with her mother. I don't know if it was a mistake to kiss Solomon. I wasn't there. They both seemed to enjoy it, and that's what's important. They both had a good time. That's what's important. But I liked that she was able to see that she got maybe overexcited and that she needed to know more about this person that she just met. So I totally understood that. I have been there, so I'm not like throwing any judgment on Danny. I have gotten caught up in the moment, and you know, if it's going really well, sometimes it happens that way. I mean, what can I say? But I think it is a good example of how, I mean, I don't know if it's just autistic people. I'm just speaking from experience, but I know that I can be that way too, like fall hard and fast. And maybe I should have taken a step back and, you know, learn more about the person, but I just got so excited. So I get that. The other thing I wanted to mention about Danny is she's such a good dresser. She looks good in every single scene in this TV series. So that's for you, Danny. You should know. Next, we're going to talk about James. They are showing him on his way to go to his blind date. They're talking about how he likes things organized and planned, and he doesn't like when plans change. At this point in the show, he had misplaced his checkbook and he was kind of freaking out about it. In reality, he had the checkbook the whole time. This is an interesting thing to show in this series. I think it is important to show how emotional, is that the word I'm looking for? It can be as a person on the spectrum. He was stressed about his date, and you know, losing his checkbook at that point was just like putting him over the edge as far as, you know, impending meltdown mode. Definitely have been there in the past, so I get that. I just hope that other people understand that as well. I thought it was a good way to illustrate how intense your emotions can be when you're on the spectrum. He does talk about how he's concerned that he won't find the person that is right for him. And at that point, his parents help him pick out an outfit for his date. He's obviously nervous for it, which is completely understandable. Blind dates. Blind dates. Before he goes on his date, he goes to the salon to get his hair touched up. He doesn't get much of a haircut like his parents ask for. He just gets his roots done and goes back to being completely blonde. I do want to mention that the hairdresser, I loved them. They were amazing. I just thought that they exuded confidence. They were their own person, their own creative being, and I just loved that. And his hairdresser just cheered him on for his date, so that was really sweet. And I think he left feeling confident about what he was going to do, if not nervous. His date is Emma, and Emma looked so beautiful. She looked smoking hot for her date. She was in this black spaghetti strap dress, and I think that our friend James was blown away with how beautiful she looked. I believe that Emma goes into the fact that she's also neurodiverse. She also mentions that, but I don't have it written down here, so I don't want to misspeak, but I believe she also says that she's neurodiverse. Emma also mentions that she has a ghost hunting channel on YouTube with a friend, and I gotta find it because that sounds very cool, informative, and entertaining. So Emma, I'm gonna look you up. As far as how the date went, I thought that James did a great job with conversation. You could tell that they were both nervous. For example, he drops his silverware, but he recovered really well. He asked good questions. He talked about his past relationships and her past relationships. She shares that she hasn't really had any deep relationships. She's been afraid to have them. I thought that that was very brave of her to share that. At the end of the date, they end up splitting the check, which I think may be a foreshadowing about how Emma feels, but I don't know yet. They go for a walk on the ocean side, and he really likes Emma. He feels like they're having a good conversation. And at that point, he asked if she'd like to, you know, see him again, go out on another date. And that's where they leave it. She starts saying, yes, but, and then they cut the date off there, you know, cliffhanger style. So I don't know if she's going to say just as friends or yes, but next time I'm gonna pick the date. I don't know. But it seems like maybe she isn't into James romantically, which is fine. Sometimes you meet good friends on dates and not romantic interests. But I felt that as far as how James was communicating and doing for somebody who hasn't gone on a lot of dates, he did a good job. Then we meet Kailyn, who's 24, and she lived with her friend in South Carolina. I think she's the first person we've met on the show that doesn't live with her family. Her goal is to not die alone, and she thinks that it's hard to be around people, but she doesn't want to be alone, and I can definitely relate to that. She mentions that she has a lot of learning disorders other than ASD, and what I loved about where she was living is that they had labeled everything in the house so that she knows where everything goes and can stay super organized. I really thought that that was a good way for her roommate to accommodate a need that she had, and I thought that it was okay that they showed that because everyone has a different process that they use to live their everyday lives. Kailyn was diagnosed at 10, and she is also gorgeous. Again, all the ladies on this show so far are just stunning. She's also the first person they show on the show that is using a fidget toy while her and her friend are scrolling through Tinder, looking at possible dates for her. What I did love about her friend Gracie is that she treated her with respect. You can tell that she loves her friends, and she talks about her with respect and doesn't infantilize her, and she really cares about her. So I liked seeing that because sometimes there's this assumption that autistic people don't have friends like that, or that you should treat autistic people a certain way, and you can tell that Gracie doesn't view Kailyn as this autistic person that she needs to like treat with kid gloves or something, and I really appreciated that. After Kailyn doesn't find love online, she tries speed dating. She looked super cute on her speed dating date in her pink dress. I mean, the girls are just killing it on their date outfits in this show. She has several dates that she goes to, and she did find somebody who immediately I was like, that's a match. His name was Peter. He asked good questions and was talking about her background. He likes dogs and animals. They had a great conversation. He said he was looking for a best friend. The other guys were nice, but she has an aversion to anyone who hunts and like dead animals. And I thought that this was pretty interesting because I've never been on a dating app, and I guess almost all guys on dating apps are like holding a dead fish or a dead deer or something dead, and not like, I don't know. I wouldn't be into that either, so I completely get it. Anyway, I really like Kailyn. I felt like she and I would be friends. She does mention that she works with autistic children and helps teach them social skills, and you can definitely tell that she has really strong social skills. She did a great job with her conversations during the dates, and I completely agreed with her choice as far as who she met for the dates and who she said she might be interested in seeing. I thought that was in line, and I liked that she didn't feel like she had to put down that she liked people that she didn't like, because we have every right to be picky just like everyone else. So I'm really excited to see Kailyn's journey and how that goes, because I felt like I could really relate to her. The next person I'll talk about is Abby. She's not in this episode a ton, but she does go into how much she liked David. She talks to her mother about it. She says that she doesn't know when they're going to go out again, but she is definitely interested. And I was so happy to see that because their date seemed to go really well. You can tell they were both nervous on their date, but they seemed to both have a really good time. And, you know, sometimes it's nice to be around somebody who's so similar to you and likes the same things that you like, but also has the same social issues that you might have or social hang-ups. They just seem like a sweet couple. She already had lots of plans on what they would do on dates together, and I thought that that was so sweet. And I could tell by some of the pictures they put out for promo on Netflix that they do go out again. So I'm excited to see where things go between Abby and David, and if that turns into a relationship or if, you know, they just become good friends. But it was really refreshing to see that. I also liked that she wanted to go on 5 dates with David so that she could really get to know him. I think that this is a really good way to go. As I mentioned, I've always been like a jumper. Like as soon as I meet somebody, I'm like, yes, no. Or if it is yes, then it's like, let's go. In many instances, I probably should have taken a step back. You know, hindsight's 20/20, and again, no judgment to anyone who jumps straight in. I know that for myself, I can be that way, and just because I have this initial spark with someone doesn't mean that we're a good fit in the long run. And that's something I had to learn through my dating experiences. So I'm rooting for Abby and David at this point. I also can't wait to see Danny and Solomon's next date, because the first one was just so like intense. I just want the best for them, and I really want it to work out. So I hope it works out. But what I think it shows is how different autistic people approach relationships. So I really appreciated that as well. They're showing a broad spectrum, like everyone is different on the autism spectrum. No judgment, they're just all very different dates that they're having. The final person that we get to meet in this episode is Sabado, and he is just turning 33 in this episode. So I really related to him because I am 33 now, at least for the next few days. Sabado was 5 when he was diagnosed, and he currently lives with his sister in LA. When we meet him, his parents are throwing him a party for his birthday. I just have to tell you, his mom was so sweet. You can tell that the family has been on a long journey together. She said that, you know, when he was 5, he couldn't speak, but now he's independent, he works, he's got his bachelor's degree, he cooks. I thought that she did a great job describing her son without speaking for him. So I just want to applaud her for that. 2 of his friends come over to the birthday party with his family, and they discuss alone their different desires for relationships. Do they want girlfriends and boyfriends, or don't they? And Sabado is really clear that he would like to be dating. He'd like to be in a relationship. Quick note, has nothing to do with being in love on the spectrum, but I thought it was so sweet how Sabado and his dad are basically twins of each other, because my mother and I look exactly the same, and they're basically wearing the same outfit at his birthday party. They both have like khakis and a blue polo shirt on. So I thought that that was really sweet because it made me miss my mom. He doesn't go into a ton of detail about himself in this episode yet, so I'm interested in learning more about him. I did like that at his birthday party, he was very clear with his mother that he didn't want an Indian girlfriend, so I'd love to hear more about that. And also, his mom gives a speech at his birthday, just saying, you know, happy birthday, we're so proud of you, we're hoping this for your year to come. And he cuts her off in the middle and asks her when she's gonna stop talking, and I thought, the honesty that only autism can give. So I'm really excited to see what Sabado has for us in store, and just like everyone else on the series, I wish him nothing but the best. I think they did a good job of letting him speak for himself and talk about what he was looking for, and they didn't really get into much with him, so I'm hoping that they will do so more in the coming episodes. But I was really impressed with him and his family. He seems to have a super supportive family that doesn't hold him back and sees him for who he is and what he can do and what he can be. And I really appreciate that, because I don't think every autistic person has that support from their family. And they seem to have really helped him blossom and be independent, and I really appreciated that. In conclusion, I thought that this episode was good. We got to meet some more people, and I still felt that everyone was portrayed fairly, and that every one of the participants were given their own voice to discuss what they were looking for and what they wanted. I also felt that the dates that were shown were very respectful, and I am looking forward to watching some more of the episodes. You know, it's hard to say at this point, will things take a turn? Will I be upset later on? You know, who's to say? But so far, I am really enjoying the series. I think that they're being fair. I think that they're being respectful. I appreciate that from an advocacy perspective and from an autism awareness perspective. So I can't wait to see what happens with these, you know, sweet people. Some of them are younger than me, some of them are my age, so I guess I'll see you next time. I'd love to hear in the comments what you thought of episode 2. And yeah, have a great day. Bye.